Hello dear students, in this video I am going to talk about important topics from the chapter Equilibrium. So what is equilibrium? It is a condition or a state at which the rates of two opposing process or reactions balance each other. So under equilibrium we have mainly three types: physical equilibrium, chemical equilibrium and ionic equilibrium. Now let us consider the first one, physical equilibrium. So what is this physical equilibrium? If the equilibrium that exists in between the physical process, then we can call it as physical equilibrium. You can see in this video, there are three videos or a process. They are all of physical process. That means there is no changes in the chemical components. Look at the first video. So we have taken closed vessel which is filled with the water. Water getting evaporating and you can see the water vapors. And one more process is going on. It has nothing but condensation. That means the vaporized form of that water droplets, it gets condenses and it returns to the liquid state again. So there are two processes. One is evaporation and condensation. Okay, so we can write the equilibrium condition between H2O. Initially H2O is in liquid state and after evaporation it vaporizes and goes to the gaseous state. Once again after cooling the water droplets condenses back into the liquid state. So we can write condensation process. So at one particular state is reached, at that particular point both the process, that is evaporation and condensation, or the extent or the rate of both the process becomes balance each other. So we can term it as equilibrium. There is an equilibrium that established between the liquid form of H2O and the gaseous form of H2O. So this is liquid to gas equilibrium that comes under physical equilibrium. There is no changes in the chemical components, only the changes in their physical components. That means physical phase transformation. Now look at this video, the second video. This is nothing but sublimation of iodine. Sublimation of iodine. Okay. So iodine, we have taken solid form of iodine and you can see in the vessel the violet colored vapors. Nothing but that is a vapors of iodine. That means solid form of iodine, it undergoes sublimation. Sublimation in the sense directly it is going to the gaseous state like this. Solid to gas equilibrium. That means the solid form of iodine, it vaporizes and you can see the color, the violet color in the vessel, and at one particular stage you can observe there is or intensity of that violet color, it becomes constant. That means that is a equilibrium condition. So there is a equilibrium between the solid form of iodine and the gaseous form of iodine. This is one more example for physical equilibrium. Look at the last video, that is bromine. Liquid form of bromine is undergoing vaporization like this. So this is liquid to gas equilibrium. This is liquid to gas equilibrium. Once again this is a physical process, that is liquid form of bromine vaporizes to the gaseous form of bromine. So This is about physical equilibrium. Okay, now let us consider chemical equilibrium. It is an equilibrium that exists in case of chemical reactions. Now let us consider one simple reversible chemical reaction. Okay, let us write A moles of A gives B moles, or reacting with the B moles of B, it gives or produces products C moles of D, C and D moles of D. Okay, now we have one important law, that is law of mass action. It states that always the rate of any chemical reaction, it mainly depends upon the concentration of the reactants. So now you have a reversible reaction. You can consider forward reaction as well as a backward reaction. So I'll give R1, that is the rate of forward reaction, and R, let it be R2 be the, let R2 be the rate or a velocity of backward reaction. Now, by making use of this law, that is law of mass action, I can write R1. What is R1? It is a velocity or a rate of forward reaction. Always it depends upon the concentration of the reactants. So, I can write like this. And also, the rate of backward reaction, it is directly proportional to the concentration of the reactants. Now, at equilibrium, already I told, at equilibrium, always the rates of two opposing process, they are balance each other. So R1 is equal to R2. So I can write like this R1. After removing the proportionality sign, I can write a constant K1, where K1 is the rate constant for forward reaction, and R2 is equal to, I'll write K2 like this. Now, at equilibrium R1 is equal to R2. So I can equate these two reactions. Let it be equation 1 and equation 2. Okay, I can write like this, R1 is equal to R2. Therefore, K1 is equal to K2 D. So I can write K1 divided by K2, which is equal to C to the power C, D to the power D divided by A and B. So here the ratio of the rate constant of forward and backward reaction, I can write it as capital K, where capital K stands for equilibrium constant. That means we can write the expression for K only when the reaction attains equilibrium. So here what is K? Here K is equilibrium constant. So K is equilibrium constant. So equilibrium constant, it is an expression, or it is a ratio of the rate of, you can see here, it is a ratio of the product of molar concentration of the products to the product of molar concentration of the reactants raised to some appropriate powers in the stoichiometric balanced equation. So equilibrium constant, we can write the expression for equilibrium constant K only after attaining the, only when if a reaction, particular reaction attains the equilibrium, then only we can write the expression for equilibrium constant. Okay. So this is in case of solution phase. You can write the expression like this. That means equilibrium constant, it is a ratio of the product of the molar concentration of the products divided by the product of molar concentration of the reactants. Now, in case of gaseous reactions, if the reaction involving in between the gases, then instead of, see, I'll give a name for this equilibrium constant as a Kc. Kc, where C, concentration. That means if you are carrying out the reaction in a solution or aqueous phase, there the concentrations, reactants and the products, we can name it as, or we can give the name as C. So this is Kc. If you consider any gaseous reactions involving gaseous reactants and the products, then what is the case? Okay, now let us consider one gaseous phase, gaseous reactions. I'll write reaction of nitrogen. Here nitrogen is a gas which is reacting with the hydrogen gas. There is a formation of ammonia. Okay, I'll balance this equation 3H2. Now this is a gaseous reaction. Reactants as well as products are in there in the gaseous form. Now for this reaction we have to write the expression instead of Kc, it is Kp, where P stands for pressures. That means the reaction, if it is involving in between the gases, their concentration is always represented as partial pressures. Okay, so instead of Kc we need to go for Kp. So what is Kp? We need to consider the pressure here instead of concentration, molar concentration. So Kp is equal to, in the numerator always we have to write the product concentration. Here product is ammonia. So partial pressure of ammonia. Instead of concentration, since it is a gas phase reaction, we need to write it's a partial pressure. So partial pressure of ammonia, its stoichiometric coefficient 2 is there. So it goes as a power divided by, only one product is there, divided by, in the denominator you have to write the concentrations of the reactants. So here nitrogen and hydrogen are the reactants, but since it is gas phase reaction, you have to represent its concentration by using a partial pressure. So partial pressure of nitrogen and partial pressure of hydrogen to the power 3. So this is the expression for equilibrium constant in case of gas phase reaction. So other than gas phase reaction, we need to use the term Kc, and it is a product concentration divided by reactant concentration, like this. So Kp and Kc, this is very important. And one more formula is there which relates Kp and Kc like this. What is the formula? Kp is equal to Kc into RT to the power delta n, where Kp is, it is an equilibrium. What is Kp? It is an equilibrium constant in terms of partial pressure. What is Kc? It is an equilibrium constant in terms of concentration. What is R? Where R is gas constant. And what is the value? 8.314 joule per mole per Kelvin. Okay, and what is T? T is a absolute temperature. What is delta N? Delta N is equal to, it is a change in the number of moles. See, delta N, how to calculate the value of delta N? It is number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. So in any question, if Kp is given or a Kc is given, then we can easily find out the value of Kp by using this formula. This is a formula which relates Kp and Kc. Okay. Okay, now you are familiar with the equilibrium constants Kp and Kc. Kp is used if the reaction involving in between the gases, and Kc in case of aqueous or a solution phase. Now suppose let us consider, see, if in the exam any reaction is given, A plus B gives a product C and D, and for this reaction equilibrium constant is given. Let it be K1. Okay, K1. Now you may be asked to calculate the equilibrium constant for the reverse reaction A plus B. So what is the equilibrium constant K2? Suppose for the first reaction K1 value is also given, maybe it is 10, and what is the equilibrium constant? You need to find the equilibrium constant for the reverse reaction. Here the answer is K2 is equal to 1 by K1. Okay, 1 by K1. That means, please remember, always the equilibrium constant of the reverse reaction is a reciprocal of the equilibrium constant of the forward reaction. So K2 is equal to 1 by K1. And one more thing, suppose any reaction is given to you. It is of the form A gives product B, its equilibrium constant, let it be K1. And you need to find out the equilibrium constant for this particular reactions. 3 moles of A reacting together, it will form 3 moles of product B. Then what is the equilibrium constant for the second reaction? This is a question. Let us take K1. Let us consider K1 value is given. That is the equilibrium constant for the first reaction. K1 is equal to 5, and you need to find out the equilibrium constant for the second reaction, K2. Here K2 is equal to K1 to the power 3. That means instead of 3 moles, if I write n moles of A gives n moles of B, then the value or K2 is equal to, it is K1 to the power n you have to take. If there is a multiples n moles, then while calculating the equilibrium constant, it goes as a powers, K1 to the power n. Suppose 10A gives 10B. See, equilibrium constant for the first reaction K1, it is equal to 5. Then what is the equilibrium constant for this reaction K2? So the answer is K2 is equal to 5 to the power 10. Isn't it? K1 value is given. So it is 5 to the power 10. Or half A gives half moles of B. What is the equilibrium constant? K2 is equal to, since K1 is given, we are with reference to the first reaction. Okay, K1 value is given to you. It is equal to 5. Then what is the equilibrium constant for this particular reaction? So we can calculate K2 is equal to K1 to the power n. What is K1? 5. What is the value of n here? Multiple, it is half. This is the answer. Okay, one more thing. Suppose, now let us consider one more reaction. See, for you, if a reaction is given like this, A is giving rise to product B with the equilibrium constant K1 is given to you, and one more reaction is given, B is giving rise to the product B and its also equilibrium constant is given to you, K2. Okay, and you are asked to calculate the equilibrium constant for this particular reaction. That is, for the reactant A is giving rise to product C. What is the equilibrium constant? K3. See, I'll consider the first equation as 1, the second reaction as 2, and this is third reaction. Okay, so if you see the reactions properly, if you add equation 1 and 2, the B gets cancels out. You will get this equation, that is A giving rise to product C. So this is equation 3. Okay, but the equilibrium constant K3, actually third equation is obtained by adding equation 1 and 2, but its equilibrium constant is obtained by multiplying the equilibrium constant of the above two reactions. So this can be How this is possible? This can be proved. See, for the first reaction, I'll write the equilibrium constant K1 expression as it is a product of the concentration of the product divided by concentration of the reactant. Okay, so I can write like this: concentration of B is equal to K1 into concentration of A. Let us consider this equation as a star. Okay, what is K2? It is a product concentration of C divided by concentration of B. Now, I can substitute B as K1 into A in the second equation. So, K2 is equal to concentration of C divided by what is B? That is K1 into concentration of A. See, look at this. Wait. See, and right here, if you consider, see, if you consider this expression, let us substitute B as K1 into A. I'll write here. So K2 is equal to concentration of C divided by K1 into concentration of A. So K1 into K2 is equal to concentration of C into concentration of C, that is nothing but K3. Therefore, the equilibrium constant for the third reactions can be obtained by the multiplication of equilibrium constant for the two reactions. So K3 is equal to K1 into K2. Okay, now let us see what is the significance of this equilibrium constant, or what is the importance, why it is used. Actually, equilibrium constant is actually used to determine the extent of the reaction. Okay, and the equilibrium constant, it is a ratio of the concentration of the products divided by concentration of the reactants. Okay, so for any reaction I can write, let us consider a reaction like this, reversible reaction. Okay, if I write expression for equilibrium constant, K is equal to, it is a product of the concentration of the products divided by concentration of the reactants. Okay, or equilibrium constant, it is directly proportional to the product concentration and inversely proportional to the reactant concentration. Now, if the value of K, okay, if the value of K is greater than or equal to 10 to the power 3, if the equilibrium constant value for the reaction is greater than or equal to 10 to the power 3, I can write like this: K is equal to, let us consider equal condition, 1000 divided by 1, and K, equilibrium constant, is directly proportional to the product concentration and inversely proportional to the reactant concentration. So now here you can see the product concentration, it is 1000 times more than the reactant concentration, isn't it? If the value of K is greater than or equal to 10 to the power plus 3, the value of K, we can write like this: 1000 by 1. That means in the numerator we have product concentration. So the product concentration or a yield, it is 1000 times more than the reactant concentration. So they are based on this, what we can conclude is that reaction is almost completed. That means already the reaction has reached the end point, that because the concentration of the product is maximum, whereas when we are comparing to the reactant concentration, therefore if the value of K is greater than or equal to 10 to the power 3, reaction is almost completed. Now the second condition, if the value of, if K is very less, maybe if k is less than or equal to 10 to the power minus 3. Okay, I'll consider k is equal to 10 to the power minus 3. We can write 1 by 1000. Here you can see in the numerator you have product concentration and the denominator reactant concentration. So here the reactant concentration is 1000 times greater or more than the product concentration. That means reaction is at in the initial state. We have the concentration of the reactant is 1000 times more than the product concentration, means reaction, maybe the reaction is not yet started. We have the maximum concentration of the reactants indicates maybe the reaction is in the initial state or in the beginning of the beginning condition. Okay, if third condition, if the value of k is equal to 1, what it indicates? The equilibrium constant, it is equal to the concentration of the product divided by concentration of the reactants. If the equilibrium constant is equal to 1, that indicates the concentration of the product is equal to the concentration of the reactants. Maybe it is at equilibrium condition. At equilibrium, we know that the concentration of the products as well as the concentration of the reactants, they balance one another. So this is actually important. That is significance of equilibrium constant. It can be used to know the extent of the reaction. Okay, one more, the significance of equilibrium constant. It is also used to know the direction of the reaction. See, in order to explain this concept, let's solve one problem here. See, the value of Kc for the reaction is given, that is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 molar. Okay, at a given time, the composition of the reaction mixture is A, B and C. It is equal to 3 into 10 to the power minus 4 molar. In which direction the reaction will proceed? That means in order to know the direction of the reaction, that means whether it follows in the forward direction or it occurs in the reverse direction. So in order to know the direction, we need a one more term called reaction quotient. Okay, we need a term called reaction quotient. Reaction quotient. It is denoted by the symbol capital letter Q. So reaction quotient, it is same as equilibrium constant. So how we are writing the expression for equilibrium constant? In a same way, in a same manner, we can also write the expression for the reaction quotient. But the condition is that we can write the expression for Q, that is for reaction quotient, at any given concentration, at any interval of time. Whereas equilibrium constant K expression is written only when the reaction is at equilibrium. That is the difference between the reaction quotient and equilibrium constant. Okay. Now, look at the problem which is given. The reaction is given. That is 2A gives product B and C. Okay. And for that equilibrium constant value is also given. 2 into 10 to the power minus 3 molar. And at a given time, the composition of the reaction mixture, that is concentration of A, B, C is given, in which direction the reaction will proceed. In order to predict the direction, we need the value of Q. So first our aim is to calculate the value of Q. So what is Q? Reaction quotient. How we can write the expression? Same as equilibrium constant. So the reaction is here. Q is equal to, what is equilibrium constant? It is equal to the ratio of the product concentration divided by the reactant concentration. Similar to the equilibrium constant, we can also write the expression for reaction quotient. So Q is equal to, in this reaction product is B and C. So the concentration of B and concentration of C divided by concentration of the reactant A to the power 2. Now let us substitute the values they have given. At a given time, okay, what is the concentration of B? Same, 3 into 10 to the power minus 4. It is minus 4 into concentration of C 3 into 10 to the power minus 4 divided by concentration of A 3 into 10 to the power minus 4 to the power 2. So what is the value? 9 into 10 to the power 8, isn't it? 9 into 10 to the power 8 gets cancels out, value is equal to 1. We have got the value of reaction quotient is equal to 1. Now let us compare this value with the equilibrium constant they have given. You can come by comparing, you can tell the value of Q, that is reaction quotient, the value of reaction quotient, it is greater than equilibrium constant, yes or no? Yes, because Q value is 1, equilibrium constant is 2 into 10 to the power minus 3. So the reaction quotient value is greater than K. That implies here Q is directly proportional to the product concentration. So if the value of Q is greater than K, we need to decrease the value of K to make it is equal to the equilibrium constant. Q value ಅನ್ನು K ನಷ್ಟು K ಗೆ equal ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು Q ನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಇದರ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿನ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೌದಲ್ವಾ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ Q is directly proportional to the product concentration. ಸೊ ಈ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿನ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು K ಗೆ equilibrium constant ಗೆ equal ತರಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು? ಯಾವಾಗ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ, ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಈ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಬಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸ್ಯೂಮ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯೂ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇಟರ್ ದೆನ್ ಕೆ, that implies the Q value ಇದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ದ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಡ್? reaction proceeds in the reverse direction, in the backward direction. So this is a use of a reaction quotient. One more condition, see, this is a first case where Q value, if it is greater than K, then always reaction proceeds in the reverse direction. Second condition, if the reaction quotient value is less than K, that means Q is directly proportional to the product concentration. So Q value K ಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಕ್ಯೂವಿನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂವನ್ನು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಕ್ಯೂವಿನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿನ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್, ಯಾಕೆ ಕ್ಯೂ ಇಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪೋರ್ಷನಲ್ ಟು ದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್. ಸೊ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ನ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು? ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಬಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಸಿ ನಮಗೆ ಈಲ್ಡ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸಿಗ್ತದೆ. ದಟ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಫ್ ದ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಆಫ್ ಕ್ಯೂ ಈಸ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದೆನ್ ಕೆ, ದೆನ್ ರಿಯಾಕ್ಷನ್ proceeds in the forward direction. This is the second case. And the third case, if the value of reaction quotient is equal to equilibrium constant, then in this condition reaction is already at the equilibrium. No need of know the direction, because the reaction is in the equilibrium itself. Okay, this is a use of equilibrium constant. We can also, based on the value of K, equilibrium constant, we can also predict the direction of the reaction. So for that we need a reaction quotient Q. What is the reaction quotient Q? It is same as equilibrium constant, but we can write the expression for Q similar to equilibrium constant, but at any time, at any given time we can write the expression, whereas equilibrium constant expression is written only when the reaction is at equilibrium. So if the value of Q is greater than K, then the reaction proceeds in the reverse direction always. If the value of Q is less than K, reaction proceeds in the backward direction. If Q is equal to K, then reaction is at equilibrium. Hello dear students. In my next video, I'll continue the remaining aspects of equilibrium chapter. Thank you.